Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, six-time world champ, two-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. And man, we are coming off of a whirlwind weekend, WrestleMania two-day event, the most stupendous WrestleMania in WrestleMania's history, man. And I must say, man, I'm tired. I'm real tired, but I feel good. if that make any sense. What's going on, dog?
Hey, what's going on, Book? I'm right there behind you. You know what I mean? You had a lot more work than I did this past weekend, but boy, man, WrestleMania was indeed stupendous, and I am stupendously tired. I hit the road this morning from Dallas, Texas, after getting home from the show last night. Drove down to Houston, got in at about 10:30. But anyway, I'm excited though. I was looking forward to this show right here all day so we could talk about WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The show was just phenomenal.
Hey, man.
It was phenomenal.
It was electric. And you know, and my thing is this, man. I don't know if it's coming off of the pandemic or what. All right, because that's got to have a little bit to do with the euphoria as far as just being back out there. I remember just sitting at the kickoff panel yesterday and day before, and just looking around, just scanning, looking at the people. And I may have seen maybe a couple of people with a mask on. I go, man, we're back. You know what I mean? We are actually really back. Man, that made me feel a certain kind of way because it's been a long time since I've had that feeling where you can actually, you know, just take a breath for a second, man. And seriously, dog, seriously, it was electric. In both shows, we talked about this. There was a lot of comments floating around as far as, you know, it's not been a lot of build up as far as certain matches and whatnot. You remember what I said? I say, you know, we're in a different time now. I say it's not like it was back in the day where angles, you know, were, you know, built 3 months out, well, maybe even longer sometime. We're in an era now where it's fluid, man, and we're shifting gears, and you're trying to figure out how we're gonna create. And I must say, this WrestleMania had so many, you know, ebbs and flows. It was awesome. The way they put it together and presented it. And it was straight up WWE style wrestling, man. I loved it.
It had a big feel to it the entire weekend. And you know what? The town was even abuzz. And I think that this 2-day thing, at first I was a little trepidatious about it. Just, I don't know, being a long-term wrestling fan or even a traditionalist. Like, imagine if somebody came to you, you know, and said, hey, guess what? This year, Christmas, 2-day extravaganza, 2 days of gift giving, 2 days of turkey, 2 days of wassail. Yeah, that's my thing. The wassau's my thing. But anyway, you would think, oh man, that sounds like it could be overload. This has potential to go wrong. But this was really the first time they got to really do the 2 nights. They did it at 36, but there was no people there. They did it last year, but it was only 20,000 people each night or whatever. This year, you had almost 80,000 people in that building every night. And it felt like the most stupendous WrestleMania in history. I mean, the tagline is a little silly, but it was true.
I must say that I was the first to question whether we should be doing 2 days of wrestling. You know, could we actually be in a position to pull it off to where the fans walk away and say, man, I cannot wait to next year, because 2 days is a lot. And not just WWE wrestling, but they had, like, you know, a boatload of independent wrestling companies where people were just up all day and all night watching wrestling. And you wonder if they could pull something off like that. And I must say, 2 shows, 2 awesome nights, 2 stupendous nights of WrestleMania, and they delivered on every form. And I want to throw this to the you know, people in the chat. You know, let us know what you guys thought about this year's WrestleMania, because I know it was a lot of thought going into this year's WrestleMania that it wasn't going to be as great as years past, but I must say they stepped up. I don't know.
They stepped up and they hit it out of the park. And you know what? It all started really on Saturday or on Friday night, where you had SmackDown, but then the Hall of Fame ceremony. And there was an interesting stat that was out there that I feel like should be brought up with the induction of Scott Steiner and Queen Charmel. All members of the Main Event Mafia are now officially Hall of Famers in the WWE. That's pretty cool right there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool right there.
Yeah. Amazing, man. I saw that photo, with all of us on there, and Charmel right in the middle. You know what I mean? And we're all now, immortalized inside the Hall of Fame. No matter what, that's something that they can't take away from us. Main Event Mafia was definitely a faction that was could have been destined to be one of the greatest of all times if done right. But just let you know, the people still remember what the Main Event Mafia did, as well as Black Snow and Chet Lemon, on the call. But it was an awesome time, man, being a part of that group, man. I just wish we could have did a whole lot more.
Yeah, a lot of super chats coming in. This from DJ 1491, who said, "What a weekend for Black women. Charmel's induction speech was so beautiful. Bianca got redemption for the SummerSlam debacle, and Sasha and Naomi won the tag titles. Salute to the queens out there." We also had Jason Marone, excuse me, who said, "Shout out once again to all the non-wrestlers and everyone behind the scenes, ensuring the talent could go out looking like absolute superstars." Well, I agree with you on that one, man. And we have another one coming in right now from Cali Toenail. BT, very dapper, very debonair as always. You had the crowd in your hands. Loved it. But those productions truck guys need to stop or need talking to respect the duck. You got to respect the duck.
They wasn't ready, man, at one point. We were having a little technical difficulty when I called for the duck at one point, and they missed the spot. But they reassured me that will not ever happen again, because we definitely need the shucky ducky quack quack moment of the night. And I must say, man, definitely everybody did an awesome job behind the scenes, guys. They took care of my queen, Charmel, like gold, man. Like she was definitely on her way in the back of the Brinks truck, trying to get her to through safe passage to that place, man. And I swear, man, it was like she had security, she had this big dressing room, she had the biggest hotel room I ever seen in my life. And I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't get none of this when I went in. And that goes to another one of my points. It goes to another one of my points. You remember I said many times, you may have heard me say it, I say, you never know, what your friends are thinking until crisis. Just say, for instance, you and your wife get a divorce, and then none of your friends, they never call you ever again, right? And then you realize they like your wife a whole lot more than they like you. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that was the conundrum in that situation right there. But it was awesome seeing the queen have her moment, man.
Queen definitely had her moment. Lord Frieza said, "I need to know what book and Queen Charmel eat because y'all look tremendous. Haven't aged a bit. Cody's return was perfect. From entrance to the winner of the match, of course, we're going to be talking about Cody Rhodes here in a minute." Jamal Stoudemire said, "Booker, three things. Queen Charmel during her Hall of Fame speech was absolutely stunning. You're a lucky man." Yeah. 2, Miz, Logan, Mysterio. Logan was surprisingly good. 3, has the Miz made a solid case to be a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Man, come on, man. We're gonna talk about that too. We're
gonna get there.
Let me put a note down. Miz
Hall of Famer.
Yeah. No, I mean, but my queen, man, she rocked it, man. She went out there and she represented the Huffman family oh so well. And I was just a wingman. I was just a fly on the wall, getting a chance to enjoy the festivities like everybody else. And I tell you, man, the pollen in the room was definitely thick. I must say that. But as well as looking dapper and debonair, it was awesome, man. Like I say, there's nothing, and let me repeat, there's nothing like WrestleMania. no matter what people talk about, no matter what people think about, and no matter what people are saying, there's nothing like WrestleMania. And I've had the pleasure of being a part of many, but this one, I must say, it was different. It was different in so many ways. It was unpappable. Hey guys, we got to take a break. Stick around. I'm just going in my word book. Hey, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. They always want something from you. And yes, they are willing to take it. But I remember when I was a boy, those long trips, those long fishing trips, some of the best times of my life. Those cool mornings and those late summer breeze. Come in. Guys.
You wanted to see us?
Yes. I did. I wanted to see you. I needed to ask a question to you, Hefe. You do great mechanic work.
Yes. Claro que sí.
Well, I need a vintage 90s model. Worked on. Perhaps some work under the hood. Transmission problems.
Claro que sí.
Yes.
It can be done.
Yes. It can be done.
It can be done.
Now it's time to reel in the big one. Can you dig it, sucker? Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Booker T, 6-time world champ, along with my man, Brad Gilmore. The WrestleMania recap. Talking about everything WrestleMania, man. But I don't know, man. What we want to start, man? What do we want to start?
You know what? I think we
I know
start.
we got a lot of super chats, probably, but what do we want to start?
I think we start here with kind of there were a few rumors that were occurring before WrestleMania of potential matches that they were just kind of they seemed like there was no chance in hell, to put it bluntly, that these matches could occur. Steve Austin KO show. Let's talk about it. Main event of night one of WrestleMania Saturday. We knew since it was going on last, we could surmise that they were going to do more than just talk. But let me ask you, did you ever think that what they went out there and did, which was a full-fledged match that went on for 15 minutes, the whole segment, I think, was like 20-something minutes. Did you think that we were going to get a match from Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Yes.
You did?
I did. 100%. You remember the last time I got in the ring and I worked singles match?
I did.
And I said I was going to be out there for about 10 minutes. How long was I out there?
I was closer to 30, if I remember.
Exactly my point. Once you get in there and get on autopilot, your body, just seems to trigger. 15 minutes doesn't seem like a whole lot of time, for someone like, myself, someone like Steve Austin. You can walk and talk for 15 minutes. And just watching how those guys went out there and played that thing out, it was perfect. Kevin Owens, man, he deserves an Oscar. He really does, for the work that he put in. on that night. I'm serious. Kevin Owens. I've said it, for a long time now that this guy's one of the best guys on the roster. I've said that. I've said that about this guy, Kevin Owens, and he is what professional wrestling is. He is what the professional wrestler does. When I watched the beginning of that thing, and I don't want to give any of our tricks away or anything like that, but when I watched the beginning of that match, I just watched the magic of Kevin Owens. Stone Cold Steve Austin definitely played his part. He played his part very, very well. But for me, if I was coming back to do a match, it'd definitely be a guy like Kevin Owens, a guy like Seth Rollins. I need one of those type of guys that know what this business truly is. And I can't speak highly enough about that veteran Kevin Owens going out there and taking care of business the way he did, and Stone Cold Steve Austin for sucking it up and giving the crowd, that crowd in Dallas, Texas, where he started his career, went out there and did it like a champ, man, and I commend him for it.
Look, I thought that we would get something physical. I was unsure if we get a full match, and a full match it was. I mean, you had Steve Austin giving suplexes, stomping mud holes and walking them dry, taking suplexes on the concrete and stopping to get himself a brewski every now and then. And to me, it was such a satisfying moment. If you're a fan of any age, because this is what I thought about. The last time Steve Austin wrestled was at Mania 19, right? That's almost 20 years ago. There were people in the crowd who were grown adults who weren't alive the last time Austin wrestled, right? We had 18 and 19-year-olds in the crowd who had never even, weren't even alive when he was still wrestling on television. And to me, it was a perfect example of how wrestling's the ultimate time machine. Because when Steve Austin was out there wrestling, I felt like it was 1998. And I just fell in love with pro wrestling again. You know what I mean? It felt like the first time I'd ever watched wrestling. It got me to that moment. And for Steve to be able to come back and, kind of go out on his terms in the city that, he not only started his wrestling career in, if I remember right, I think he went to UNT. So he went to college in Dallas. He played football in Dallas. He grew up 50 miles outside of Dallas. I mean, this is essentially his hometown, for lack of a better term. So to retire, maybe, and have your big match in the main event of WrestleMania against a guy like Kevin Owens. And the thing was, this solidified Kevin Owens' career in the WWE from the sense of he got to have his WrestleMania moment with one of the biggest stars in the history of the company. And people want to ask him in interviews, so why'd you re-sign with the WWE?
No, man.
It was incredible. I mean, salute to KO and salute to Austin. It was awesome.
No, salute to those guys, man, for going out there and doing it on the grandest stage of them all. Like you say, 77, almost 78 the first night, over 80 the second night. That right there in itself is a win. It just goes to show you that the love of professional wrestling is so much still alive. And that's why I'm happy, man, more than anything, because let me know I'm going to still get paid.
Money starts coming in. Antonio said A1 was as perfect as it gets. Stone Cold and KO turned it out. It was so good. I wouldn't have been upset if they canceled day 2 after that, is what Kelly.
You know what? It seemed like you might want to you have thought that way for a second. And
right.
We talked about that. But then night 2, man, you really can't say a whole lot of negative about night 2 as well. The whole overall WrestleMania this year, it was a home run. Any young wrestler out there that watched that show that was not a part of that event, if they aren't going through their careers saying, man, I wish I could do that at least once, so there's got to be something wrong with them. If you're just in this business to go out and do the one part that Kevin Nash talks about, the money and the miles, if you just want to do the miles and not be a part of the money, you don't want to think about WrestleMania. You know what I mean? If you're just thinking about taking bumps, don't think about WrestleMania. But if you're thinking about getting to the grandest show of them all and performing in front of thousands of people in that arena, but the millions around the world that's watching, it's gotta be something wrong. Because this weekend, I must say, I've been in the WWE now. I've been a part of the company for about 20 years, and I can't remember moments where I'm that excited. Okay, but I gotta say, man, from the Hall of Fame to both nights, I got zero rest. I was literally going on fumes. But every time the red light it felt something special. I made a quote about Roman Reigns, and this the way that WrestleMania felt to me as well. It was a windy day that out there, and the wind was blowing all over the place. And I said, it's like, he's like the wind. You can feel it, but you can't touch it, but it's there. That's what that feeling was for me with this WrestleMania. It was something special.
I agree. And you know what?
Guys, that quote right there is trademarked. Don't even think about it.
Okay. Well, I've just let you know I've stolen it about a half dozen times. But going back to Austin real quick. The way they laid out the match was great. Him having his moment was awesome. And I thought that was the last we were going to see of Steve Austin for the weekend. I thought, oh man, what a great moment. He's done. He's out of there. And then we did. I think we have time for a break. We'll talk about the Pat McAfee match a little bit more, but there was a Pat McAfee versus Vince McMahon match. Right? It went 3 minutes. Vince McMahon at 76 years old defeated Pat McAfee at WrestleMania. That happened. All right. That happened.
It did.
And then Steve Austin hits the ring. And I never thought that I'd see something like this in a span of 60 seconds. Gives one of the greatest stunners of all time to Austin Theory. Really shout out to Austin Theory, who took such a beautiful Stone Cold Stunner. And then within the same sequence, gives one of the absolute worst stunners of all time. It was great. It was amazing.
Don't talk about it, man. Don't talk about it.
It was amazing. It was one of my favorite things on the whole show. Wait a
minute. The second one or the first one?
Both of them as a package. You know what I mean? As a package. You need whole and you need oats. You know what I mean? You needed the package. Oh, it's so great.
Man, we gotta take a damn break. Because I saw it. And it was definitely one that we're going to be thinking about and talking about for a long time, man. That's going to be a meme, forevermore, guys. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We got to take a break. We'll be back in a minute.
My name is Dan Miller, and I'm trained to be a professional wrestler here at Reality of Wrestling. Professional wrestling has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. Growing up, I would have the toys, I would have matches with stuffed animals, I had a little paper championship. I always had that voice in the back of my head saying, can you do this? Can you really be a pro wrestler? And one day that voice got so loud, I just had to know. So I did my research, and I found that Reality of Wrestling is the best training ground in the whole country. You could sit down and turn on the TV every night of the week to watch pro wrestling, and you'll see someone who got their start in this ring. Reality of Wrestling teaches you everything you need to know about the business, from putting together the ring to putting together a TV show. This is a place where you can come and work on your fundamentals, work on your body, work on your interview skills. This is a one-stop shop for everything pro wrestling. If you have that voice in the back of your head, now is the time to find out if you have what it takes here at Reality of Wrestling.
ticket, sucker. Shup. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Yeah, man. Like I say, man, what a WrestleMania. No, we probably got a few super chats. If you want to get something done right now, let's do it.
Yeah, let's look at it here. This was, let me go back to the first one. So this is from Brian Miranda, who said Los Angeles Rams owners versus WWE Vince McMahon. That was WWE. That WWE WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles, signed Brian Miranda. Okay, we appreciate you, Brian, for that. Brian Miranda also just donated $20, so we appreciate you.
Man, we appreciate it, Brian. Definitely, man. Most
Yeah,
definitely.
man.
You know what? You know what? Before we even move any further, man, I just want to thank like so many fans that I ran into from like all across the globe that represent this show, the Hall of Fame, with Booker T and Brad Gilmore, man. I ran into so many people, man. That was like, man, we love the show. So guys, just keep listening, keep watching, and being a part of the show, and making your thoughts known right here inside the Hall of Fame.
Champagne wishes, baby. Caviar dreams.
Oh,
Shotgun BIGSOL. The sell of Vince's stunner. LMAO. I mean, come on, Book.
nah, man. I'm gonna tell you, bro. I'm gonna tell you, man. I laughed like so hard, bro. I laughed. You know what? And the only person can get away with doing it like that is Vince.
100%.
The only person that could get away with doing it like that. I can't even be mad at it. I can't be mad at it at all.
Go look at the very first stunner Vince ever took in Madison Square Garden back in '98 when he was 50 something. It was just as bad as last night's. It was just as bad.
I don't even know what it is. It's like a timing thing. It's like, I don't know what it is.
I mean, he gets kicked in the gut and then he falls backward into the ropes. And poor Steve.
No, but he goes down to one knee first.
Goes down to one knee and then
and get right up. I don't know, stumbles, but still has balance enough to hit the ropes properly.
Hit the ropes, yes.
To come off and take
good form.
Still didn't take it properly.
Well,
but it was definitely one of the things you're gonna remember, bro.
Look, when Steve, first of all, I feel bad for Steve for only this reason. He must have done this about 12 times. You know, he kept reaching back for him. And then he finally gets a hold of him. And when he brings him down for the stunner, it was almost like Vince lost every bone in his body.
Like Vince, like, let's get to this stunner, man. Let's just do it. We ain't got to do nothing. Let's just get it done. I'm going to go down for you. So it was, oh, man. No,
did you ever play that game Jenga?
No.
You know what a Jenga tower is? It's like little blocks, and you like take the blocks out of the tower, and you try not to let it fall. You have any idea what I'm talking about?
I've seen that game. Yeah. I've never.
Sometimes when you stack the Jenga blocks too high, you start to see it lean, and then it just completely crumbles.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
100% what Vince did last night. It was like he was the Jenga tower coming down, and Steve Austin couldn't do anything but laugh.
Hey, bro.
Laugh.
Like I say, it was icing on the cake.
It was a moment.
It really
That's
was.
what anybody who said, "Hey, man, that was one of the worst." Because I saw people online, that was one of the worst matches in the history of WrestleMania, talking about Vince versus McAfee. That wasn't about a match. It was about a moment. And when Vince took his shirt off and he took his tie off and he, did the whole thing, it was such a moment. Everybody, I was in a press box full of grown men who were losing their minds.
For people making comments and thinking about the match, they shouldn't be tuning in to WrestleMania. Why were they even watching the show?
Right.
That's the thing.
The moment.
Why are those people even, commenting if it's something that they despise so much? There again, that was a moment. That was a moment that, the boss of the company came out and created, and there again, it's going to live in history, and people are going to be talking about it forever. People are going to be talking about that stunner, for quite some time. And it wasn't, I don't think the stunner was made for Vince McMahon to go out and take it perfectly, or like Austin Theory, or that's what wrestling is. And I'm just so glad to see there again that audience and that fan base that we had at the kickoff show both days. They were excited, man. I mean, it felt like a comic a con on steroids in a certain sense because I saw so many cosplayers out there dressed up as their favorite wrestlers from the past. It was unbelievable. The Paul Bearers, the Jake the Snakes, the Ricky Steamboats, the Macho Man Savages, the Hogans. It was everybody was out there representing who they loved, the signs. That's what was really, really cool. I saw so many freaking signs from like back in the day. I don't know if they told people, guys, bring your signs or what, but it was definitely, it had that feel, like you said earlier, that feel that made you become a fan.
Yeah.
Start watching. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. Now, I just hope it's just something that we can sustain going forward. And I really think somebody that we're going to be talking about later on in the show is going to spark that change. That person is Cody Rhodes. And I just believe the company may be going in a different direction, just because of the format that I saw on this show. I said something, I don't know, a few weeks back, and people didn't believe me. And I said, Bobby, I was talking about Bobby Lashley and his trajectory and where he's going in the company. That's somebody we're gonna have to talk about as well. But like I said, man, it was just such a awesome feeling. It was refreshing to see the fans feel the way they did for those 2 days, man. And if you wasn't there, you don't know what I'm talking about. Right. But if you were there, it was like the dopamines.
They're firing.
Oh man, it was
firing.
Ooh wee, man. It was. It was unbelievable. It was stupendous.
It was stupendous. Antoine Williams said Vince's pre-shock look to the wrong music. Yeah, at one point they play Austin Theory's music, and you see Vince jump because I don't know if he was ready for the Steve Austin music or it just caught him by surprise. And then Steve Austin's music came out 30 seconds later. P. Sirius said Booker T taking the stunner and spitting the beer at WrestleMania 27 was one of the best stunners ever. It was one of the best stunners ever. I agree with that. It's up there. There's about 5 at WrestleMania that are very special.
Well,
right?
I'm gonna tell you right now, mine rank very, very high.
It's in the top 5. I think
it's definitely in the top 5, and that was my motive of operandi, MO. Okay, if you watch any crime shows, to us to go out there and take the best stunner anybody possibly could take. I swear to God, that was my
honestly. If I were to rank the top 5 stunners at WrestleMania history, like the cells of the stunner, it would be Scott Hall at 18. It would be The Rock at 19. It'd be Booker T at Mania 27. It would be Austin Theory at Mania 38 because his was spectacular. And I have to give an honorable mention to Vince McMahon. I mean, it was just, how can you not put the worst best stunner in the top 5?
Hey man,
so great.
I'll take that. I'm just glad I'm in there, man.
If anyone out there listening has never seen Booker take it at WrestleMania 27, it's sensational.
Oh, it's great. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's one of the best,
really good.
One of the best for me, if not the best. Taking the stunner anybody's ever taken, and that was my thing, man. It's never really been about me. It's always been about the show and how big we can make this show, and what kind of moment we can create here. That's why the Booker T, Stone Cold Steve Austin, grocery store fight is still talked about, so widely. It's because people had a feeling when they saw it. It was stupid. It was funny. You know what I mean? It was wrestling, and I think that's what we're missing today. And hopefully, I'm hoping. You know what? No, I'm wishing that we can get back to that. I know a lot of people out there wondering about that, but you know.
Real quick though, because we're talking about Pat McAfee was in that same segment of matches. He took a great stunner as well. He wrestled Vince and Austin Theory, beat Austin Theory, lost to Vince. Had some really high praise for you also on his show today. Talk about his match and what he's added to the company, because when you talk about guys who are over, he was so over when he came out last night at WrestleMania.
Pat McAfee, he's he's definitely brought a different element to this business, to the company, to that position. And it's different than any of us former wrestlers has brought to the table. His comedic side is very, very, very good. He knows how to have fun. And that job right there takes a lot of energy to be able to do that on a weekly, bi-weekly basis. You out there. And I must say, he's done a great job, man. The guys in the locker room, like Pat McAfee, he figured out how to make it in the locker room. I think is something that has helped him as well. And you could see the hard work that Pat McAfee put into actually going out there and trying to do well. He's not just phoning it in. That's why we respect a guy like that. So I think that's why Pat is doing well. And, and he did, there again, a hell of a job last night. We got to take a quick break, guys. You are inside the Hall of Fame getting your champagne wishes, caviar dreams. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Just talking about the WrestleMania recap. What went down all WrestleMania here inside the Hall of Fame. But yeah, Pat McAfee, man, like I say, he brings something a little different to the table. He's special, man, and I definitely appreciate him for giving me my props and putting me over as well, man. He talks about me being a nice guy. You know what? It's easy to be nice to a guy that you can respect for what they bring to the table. It don't cost you a whole lot to be nice to people as well. And for me, to see someone like Pat McAfee thrive in this business, it's pretty awesome. It really is. So big ups to Pat McAfee.
Yeah, Push Forward TV said, Theory went from falling out of the sky to a baby having a tantrum after taking the stunner. It was sensational. But Pat looked like he had the biggest pop of the night. It was one of the loudest reactions. It was one of the loudest reactions all WrestleMania. And he really showed up and showed out. But if I'm ranking, we've talked about two of the big reactions. We talked about Steve Austin, who still, that pop when his music hit was like Road Warrior 89, right? To 8 times 11. Another massive reaction. We knew Seth was going to go out there and he was going to wrestle a hand-picked opponent of Vince McMahon. There was a lot of rumors about who it could be. For the longest time, we heard one name. Then we started to hear maybe it's Shane McMahon. Then after the Undertaker's Hall of Fame speech, people said, maybe it's Taker. He said, never say never. What if it's Taker versus Seth at Mania? That would be a moment in Dallas, right?
Yeah. I don't know if you heard, Seth Rollins even said it might even be me.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I'm like, what is the deal? Why is everybody calling me out? And throwing me in the mix. I might have to, get ready for another run or something. But keep going. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But it's okay. But the opponent was the long rumored one. Seth went out there. Lights went out. Pyro goes off, and you hear a voice say, "Wrestling has more than one royal family." And then the screens say American Nightmare, and ascending from the stage comes the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Same Music as an AEW, same attire as an AEW, same presentation, same.
Oh no, the presentation was totally different.
Yes, and we'll get to that. But I'm saying wardrobe wise,
Yeah,
he looked the same.
yeah.
And boy, did this crowd in Dallas react heavily to seeing Cody Rhodes finally make his way back to the WWE after 6 years. His last WrestleMania was as Stardust in the very same building. And now here he is again.
Yeah, yeah. I like the intro too, the slow rise. It was really, really cool. The cinematic production, um, intro of Cody Rhodes as well. It felt big. It felt like something, it felt like a superstar was walking out of the curtain. And I think that's the difference with Cody Rhodes now being back in the WWE, walking out of that curtain and making that walk down that aisle. I'm sure he felt like a superstar. I'm sure he felt like, this was something very, very special, something that he hadn't been a part of in quite some time. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you've been a part of that and you go away from it, and you miss that, especially if you come back. Just like for me, coming back to the Rumble,
Right.
and like wow, the fans were going nuts, and and I had been in TNA, and next thing you know, I'm in front of I don't know how many thousand people, and they're going nuts. It is like, wait a minute. I missed this. You know what I mean? This feels good. It was one of those type of deals. So I can only imagine how Cody felt making that walk. I'm sure he was nervous. I'm sure he was, restless. I'm sure he had, thoughts in his head that was, I don't know. Hopefully those thoughts were driving him to go out and perform at a very, very high level. But I could just only imagine, the thoughts going to his head, being in that moment right there, 3 years removed from WWE back, it's amazing.
Incredible.
It really was. And then
go for it.
And then the match.
He went out and performed. He and Seth. Let's not make it just about Cody, obviously, but he and Seth went out there and they had a professional wrestling match, main event style. At the point of the card they were. It was so good, their match.
It reminded me of what wrestling is. It really did. And I'm trying not to take anything away from anybody out there. Like I'm just gonna say it like AEW. I'm not saying anything negative about AEW because I feel like a talent like the Young Bucks, Hangman Page, guys like that, they have brought a different style to wrestling now, to Kenny Omega's, and it's different. It's a different style of wrestling that they're trying to get people to buy into. I get it. I understand that. But when I saw Cody and Seth go out and do it, it was nothing but two guys going out there and simulating, life, but still not forgetting that it's professional wrestling, such as the seriousness of the match, everything going back and forth, and then the flip flop and fly, the elbow, which was literally nothing, but it brought the nostalgia of Dusty Rhodes into the arena, and the arena felt it. Immediately, and those little bitty things right there, along with everything else that those guys did, it meant everything. And I went, wow. I swear I went, wow. It was truly what wrestling, has always been to me. Two guys going out there and giving the fans that ultimate thrill ride. And the finish was awesome. 1, 2, 3, right in the middle. Mm-hmm. No frills.
No funny business.
No funny business. It was awesome.
I'm with you. When there was 2 points in the match where I was like, wow, man, these guys are telling the ultimate story, right? Where Seth, wants to beat Cody Rhodes, not with the curb stomp. He wants to beat him with the pedigree, right? And I'm thinking, not only did Triple H just retire, but all the bad blood between Cody and Triple H over the last couple of years, the smashing of the throne, kind of the two faces of their respective brands, the Wednesday night wars between NXT and AEW, right? And then even going back to Seth being Triple H's protege and Cody calling Triple H his favorite wrestler of all time. So for them to do the pedigree spot was just it's a pro wrestling thing to do.
Yeah,
Just an old school pro wrestling storytelling thing. And then Cody's about to hit the trifecta of the crossroads.
Yeah.
And stops. And then when he hit that first boom, that first little jab, the whole crowd already knew where he was going.
Yeah.
So by the time he hit the bionic elbow on the top of Seth's head, the place lost their mind. It was
man.
pro wrestling. And really, out of the two nights, that was my favorite match.
Hey, man, poetic justice, man. That's what wrestling is. That's what wrestling always has been. And to be able to, watch it, live and live in color between those two guys, it was a thrill ride for me, man. I don't get too many, goosebumps these days watching guys go out and do it, because I'm looking to be, taken in a certain direction to where, you can make my heart beat a little bit. You can make my palms sweaty a little bit. You can make me go, surprise me with something. Oh, they got me right there on that one right there. I thought that was it. That type of stuff, opposed to knowing it and being able to see it before it actually happens. So much of that is done these days. To see it the way it was done, it's beautiful. Guys, we got to take a break. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. You're worth it.
Walker Texas Ranger handles the bad guys with a roundhouse kick. I'm Jim Walker, Walker Texas lawyer. I handle the insurance companies with a roundhouse kick to the wallet. If you've been injured in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, give me a call at 713-552-1117 or visit my website at walkertexaslawyer.com. You'll be glad you did. Why would you call anyone else?
Can you dig it, sucker? Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Just talking WrestleMania. Everything WrestleMania, everything that went down at WrestleMania. Who was the highlight of the moment? That's the thing. Who do you think the highlight of the moment award should go to?
You know what? I think for the ability to tell a long-term story in today's age, it's very difficult to do. It's difficult to get people to buy into something. It's hard to not rush it because people rush to judgment, right? After that SummerSlam in Las Vegas, where Bianca Belair lost her title that she had won at the previous year's WrestleMania, and she lost it in 36 seconds or whatever to Becky Lynch. Well, I remember I was mad on this show. Everybody was mad. And for those two women to go out there on Saturday night and have what I think was the best match on night one of WrestleMania from a match perspective, it was incredible. And Bianca to get her gold back to finish that story. Becky Lynch had not lost a match, for that title since she won. She held the title for like 3 years or something like that. If you include the time that she was off for pregnancy, but nobody beat her for it, right?
Yeah.
So Bianca ended this winning streak of Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, and she had the Ocean of Soul there with her, and they had such a great match. So they get they're my pick for the moment of the night. or the match of the night, for whatever you want to say, for that first night of WrestleMania?
I think my moment of the night would be Logan Paul.
So I can't be mad at it.
I think Logan Paul would take the gold medal as far as stepping inside of a professional wrestling ring, and as far as I know, for the first time in front of a live crowd, and do so well. He seemed so comfortable. It seemed like he had been doing this for quite some time. He convinced me. Logan Paul definitely convinced me that this guy has talent. He's one of those guys to where he uses that analogy that I talk about all the time. He doesn't really actually have to know how to do it, but he acts like he knows how to do it, and he acts like it very well. And it, you know, everything that he did, just from, for instance, the power slam, it looked almost textbook. The frog splash, everything that he did, throwing the punches in the corner, the body shots, which didn't expose him at all. Like a lot of guys go out there throwing head shots. I was like, man, this guy, man, he may have for a minute, I swear to God, for a minute, I was thinking they're going to run with Logan Paul and The Miz and put the tag titles on these guys and give them a run to next year, sign Logan Paul to a cut. That's what I saw, because the chemistry between those two was awesome. I mean,
Really good. No pun intended.
No pun intended. Okay. But the chemistry between those two guys, it was unbelievable. And I must say, man, that match, it definitely had a great feel to it.
Look, since your man Bad Bunny last year, I mean, the expectations the fans have of celebrity involvement has increased exponentially. And we had 3 celebrities wrestling on WrestleMania this year. All 3 of them delivered. Like, all 3 of them delivered. Logan Paul especially stood out because we did not know what to expect from him. We didn't. We'd seen McAfee wrestle before. We knew that Knoxville was going to go out there and do something crazy. We didn't know about Logan Paul. He was the question mark, really, out of the 3 of them.
Yep.
And he was the first one to have to go out there and show what he had. And he did it. And the thing about this is, what a year he's had over the last 365 days to box one of the greatest boxers of all time in a high-profile exhibition fight, and then to go out there and have an impressive debut at WrestleMania. Like, just kudos to him. I know people hate on him for a variety of reasons, but this is what I always say. I can never be mad at a winner. I can only learn from one.
Yeah.
And he went out there and he did such a great job. He understands timing. He understands how to get a crowd to react to him. And whoever out of the 4 of them, or the producer, whoever came up with the idea for him to do the 3 amigos and then do the frog splash is a genius.
Yeah,
It was a genius idea. And
for
it got so much heat.
For him to pull it off as good as he did, that's even more so.
And you forget how massive he is. He's
Yeah.
a big dude.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
He's a big dude.
Yeah. He looked like he knew what he was doing. He acted like he knew what he was doing. And that's what I always say, man. If you could just pass the smell test, you can actually go out and make fans, react and give you what you're looking for. And I think Logan Paul being a guy who has been playing a role over these last few weeks with The Miz, backing The Miz's play, everything The Miz do, even going out there trashing his own city, even being a little reluctant, but still going along with it, playing that role is so important, because me personally, when I was watching it on television, and I'm watching The Miz run down, Cleveland, and then I'm watching, Logan, being a little reluctant to what we're saying here, but still, backing his play. It was awesome to see him understand that side of what we're trying to do here. So 100% kudos to Logan Paul.
Well, why don't we talk about the other celebrity match then? Let's talk about Knoxville. Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn, if you want to talk about a build to a match, had one of the best builds of the entire WrestleMania card. Right? Like a build to a match. with an angle at the Rumble, all the things that happen outside of it, with Sami Zayn showing up at the premiere, with Johnny Knoxville flying his phone number across Los Angeles and having people call and text him, which I found out was a legit thing that he did. It was for a shoot, as if you want to say that, right? And then for them to go out there and have a match that exceeded everybody's expectations and was so much fun. To have all the gimmicks and to have Wee Man come in the ring and body slam Sami Zayn for his Hogan Andre moment, for Chris Pontius to come in as party boy, and for the whole Jackass crew to be out there. And look, was it silly and over the top and like a Looney Tunes cartoon come to life inside of a pro wrestling ring? Absolutely. But if you did not have fun watching that match, like you said before, what were you watching the show for? Because WWE went out there and they said, we're going to put on the most stupendous WrestleMania of all time. It's going to be about spectacle. It's going to be about pomp and circumstance. And what's better than Sami Zayn getting put through a table full of mouse traps, being hit in the nuts with a bowling ball, being smacked upside the face with a giant Will Smith-sized hand? It was fantastic. And he loses the match with a life-size mouse trap.
Hey, man.
So great.
I must say, Sami Zayn, I mean, he's another guy that I've talked about in the past. I think I might have said, man, if I had 20 Sami Zayns, the company would be in a better place. He's one of those type of guys. Sami Zayn's he's a player, man. He's really a gamer as far as knowing what this business is all about. Just think about what Sami was just 2 months ago. Sami was, living the high life on top of the world, having the title around his waist, and then all of a sudden Johnny Knoxville come into play. Never thought in a million years that Johnny Knoxville will be the reason Sami Zayn loses the title. Okay. Then Sami Zayn loses the title gracefully and moves right into an angle, with Johnny Knoxville. Leads it all the way to WrestleMania, to a match at WrestleMania where he goes out and performs from a Shakespearean perspective, with a guy like Johnny Knoxville. That's a guy that knows what the business is all about. And Sami Zayn, I hope this message get back to him. Like I said, I wish we had 20 Sami Zayns, because the company and the business would be in a much better place with guys like that.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. He is somebody who's always, when I know he's out there, I know he's committing 120%. He's going out there and doing everything he possibly can to entertain the fans and put in the best effort. And Johnny Knoxville, I believe, is 50 years old, right? And he's 50 years old. This is his first wrestling match, really ever. And he and Sami, they literally set the bar so high that night. I mean, you could hear all the media people where I was sitting. Everyone was like, man, how are you going to top that? Because it was so much fun and the crowd loved it. And that's what it's all about, is getting that reaction from the crowd. And just, my hat's off to him. It was really like a Jerry Lawler, Andy Kaufman, part 2, right? I mean, it felt like that level of commitment from both parties, and to have it pay off at WrestleMania was great. I hope we see Knoxville again, but if this is one and done, what a way to go out.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. We got to take another break. But we got a whole lot more for you guys here inside the Hall of Fame. Stick around. We'll be back in a second.
3. So the independent scene for me, I broke in 1998, which was a long time ago, but for me, it was an opportunity to learn. I got an opportunity to learn from guys like Greg Valentine, King Kong Bundy, guys that I grew up watching, to come into a locker room, share a locker room with them, pick their brain. That was the most important thing for me, is to find out certain things, what they did, how to act, not only in the ring, but in the locker room, just from a respect level. And I came in at a very, I think, with the best time. In 98, 99 was the start of the Attitude Era. So I got to sit back and not only watch on TV all these superstars and to hope one day join them, but to learn from the guys that have been there before. And nowadays in the independents, there's not a lot of guys that you can pick their brains, and a lot of guys that have that TV experience and have been around the world, and we're on the road 300 plus days a year. So I was very thankful for my time on the independents.
Can you dig it, sucker? Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Talking WrestleMania. We talked about Logan Paul.
Yes.
But we really didn't talk about The Miz.
Talk about him.
Hall of Famer, man.
Surefire.
I'm going to tell you, man, that one look The Miz gave Logan Paul right before the skull-crushing finale. You can see his acting chops right there. That was the Academy Award, like deal right there. The hard look, the sinisterness, going through. You can see the wheels turning, and then bang. It was beautiful. So, what do we rank Miz, man, right now? Where is Miz ranking in the company?
As far as
a guy that has pretty much done it all, seen it all, and still there creating still now today. I think Miz is a top. I always thought Miz was one of those guys that was going to have to work for it. All right, I thought he was going to have to work for it, but Miz has not only put in the work, but he's put in like overtime to try to convince the people, hey guys, I'm here to entertain you. And at the end of the day, when Miz accepts his Hall of Fame ring, the fans are really going to realize, why they really love to hate the Miz.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's going to go down as one of the best heels the company's ever had, but I don't think the Miz is going to be slowing down anytime soon. Talking about a Hall of Fame ring, that's 20 years down the line.
Yes.
Miz can be doing this until WrestleMania 50. Seriously.
Yeah.
And still be putting in quality performance. And he has been, and people sometimes want to dog on his quote unquote style, right? But if the Miz isn't one of the best, and I'm going to use this term, workers, right, in the world today, then I know nothing about wrestling. I know nothing.
Yeah.
Because is he a Bret Hart, Benoit technician? No. But can he elicit a reaction from fans like very few guys have ever really been able to, and be able to sustain it for a long time and always find a way to be relevant on the show? Yeah, he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of the best workers in the company and maybe in the world.
My thing is, when I look at Miz's career, I go, how many times has he been hurt?
None. I don't even think he's had surgery.
Well, I think
he hasn't even had a hangnail.
He took some time off, I think, last year. I think he had a slight injury. Something he did, but it was something he was doing for somebody else. I don't think it was a move or anything in the ring that he hurt himself on. But what I'm saying is, you talk about his work style. Miz's work style is to not get hurt.
Yeah.
To go out there and to be able to perform every week, no matter how many times we got to go out here and do this. I'm going to be ready to go when my numbers call. So that's why I rate guys at, as far as their longevity, how long they can go out there and work at that top level. Because getting to the top level is one thing, staying at that top level is another. For a long amount of time, man. We're talking about a guy I was just talking about John Cena. I was talking about how this guy really pretty much, put the company on his back for like 10 years from a PR perspective, from an in-ring perspective, from an overseas, everything. And never being at home to enjoy any of it, sacrificing, that's what The Miz is right now, man. He really is. And I give The Miz a whole lot of credit for being able to sustain what he has pulled off since the real world on MTV back in the day. This kid has put in a lot of work. He's not even a kid anymore, man. He's a grown ass man. So I'm gonna give him his respect.
Yeah, no, I mean, I absolutely love everything the Miz has ever done, really, since he came into his own in the company. So shout out to Miz. We have a ton of super chats. I just want to read them quickly. We're not going to be able to answer them all, but we can at least read them on the show. Callie Tonio said bad thing for me. Roman again getting the cheat win over Brock. It was been a long feud with no payoff. Brock has been jumped, bloodied up at MSG. No snatching up Paul Heyman. No nothing after all that. Come on. We'll talk about the main event here in a second. Jamal Bryant said, how was it working with Test as a tag team? We've talked about Test before, man.
This was awesome, man. Tess was awesome. He was a good friend too.
Push for TV, Booker T versus Edge or Damian Priest would be nice. I don't
like any of those matchups.
Callie Toenail, I know that's your pick of the litter right now, Booker T, but it's time for Roman to go join Becky in the back of the line. Bobby needs a real run at that as well. Bobby Lashley beat Omos to a lot of people's shock over the weekend. Underground Night, Booker T, will you ever?
I wasn't shocked, but go ahead.
Not mine either. I predicted him. Underground Night said, Booker T, will we ever get your theme song on streaming platforms? I can only find it on YouTube. I think that might be a WWE question.
Yeah, that definitely is.
It's a WWE question. I'm sorry. We just have a ton of these. Hetty Murphy just threw us some money, so we appreciate you, Hetty.
Shout out, Hetty.
Jason Marone, the Knoxville match is the kind of stuff that'll make Sami a Hall of Famer one day. I laugh like a jackass, no pun intended.
Boom, that is right there. That's what wrestling is, and it will always be that to the fan.
Hetty Murphy said, I witnessed my first WrestleMania match ever this weekend. Is it safe to say that celeb matches stole the show? They were some of the most compelling things on the entire Mania card.
You know what? And that's why they're there. The unexpected of a match like that. Watching these stars, like a Johnny Knoxville, believe it or not, he just had something on his bucket list he probably checked off, man. That perhaps was a dream come true for Johnny Knoxville. So big ups to Johnny.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we had another one here. Oh, Jamal Stoudemire said, Miz was Bad Bunny match too. He makes everyone look so good. Yeah, Miz was a part of that Bad Bunny match.
Yeah. Take somebody like that to understand, what we're doing here to put them in that type of position. Guy like the Miz is there again, prime example of what I'm looking for in a talent. And people can think what they want. I had a lot of championships throughout my career, but I did not go through my career thinking about the championships. I thought about let's try to create some drama, some action. Let's get a fans a feel moment when they leave this arena to where they're talking to their buddy about it. That's what I thought about when I did it, and I think that's what the really good ones do. Just like a Miz with Bad Bunny. And as well as, doing something with Bad Bunny can elevate you as well. Just going to open up you to a totally different genre. You know what I mean? Doing something with, Johnny Knoxville, man, that's money right there for me. You know what I mean? Kevin Owens getting a rub from Stone Cold Steve Austin, even though that's not a celebrity match, but that's a guy that's coming back from the past, and we're giving the fans something that, we really don't know what we're going to see here. But then at the end of the night, we go, man, that was pretty damn. You leave the arena talking about that over, these headline, so-called matches, So I think WrestleMania, the show WrestleMania in itself is the headline.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that so much. The spectacle of it, it definitely adds something.
Yes.
I do want to shout out, somebody said it in the chat earlier, so I think we should call attention to it. It was a great weekend for Black women, right? Sharmell going in the Hall of Fame, of course.
Yes.
The second Black woman to ever accomplish that behind Jackie Moore. That's something that should be acknowledged, as well as Bianca Belair winning her championship back at WrestleMania. And also this, Sasha Banks and Naomi winning the tag titles. Here was a stat I found. They're the first ever African-American women's tag team champions. Sasha broke her WrestleMania losing streak. She had never won at WrestleMania until Sunday. Yeah. Naomi wins a title after 5 years of no championship. Naomi ties Trish and Sable for the most wins in WrestleMania history. And Sasha Banks becomes a 10-time champion in WWE, all from that title. So big props to them.
I said Naomi, Sasha Banks. I said that was going to be one of those matches to where, you know, means to an end. We got to win these titles, but I say do not trust Sasha Banks 1 minute. I mean, if you can't see her, you better not trust her. You know what I mean? So that's my thing as far as that goes. But I'm happy to see the sisters, getting along and going out there and winning gold.
Yeah. I mean, just an amazing weekend for a multitude of different reasons. I mean, there's still more WrestleMania to talk about. We haven't even talked about the main event, the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. We have a unified champion to get to. We have Monday Night Raw. We haven't talked about the Undertaker. We haven't even talked about the Undertaker.
Well, we got to take a break here pretty quick. And we got about another 11 minutes to talk about it. So, guys, you got some super chats. You better get them in. You better get them now. But we got to take a quick break, guys. Stick around. You're inside the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
A little bit. But I think the match that everyone kind of saw me at my... I got the right exposure, I guess, is when I faced Ricochet in Japan for the Best of Super Juniors. And I think a lot of people saw that match and was like, all right, well, this is what Will does. He's a flippy guy. But I saw the constructive criticism that everyone would say, and I would go, hang on, no, they've got a point. They have got a point. We could have done some stuff different. We could have done this, that, and that different. And then I got in the ring with a guy called Shibata. And in New Japan, like, he was like, top, like, do you know what I mean? He's like he was one of the new generation Three Musketeers. And I would be like, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. And he looked me dead in the eyes. Like, he just looks at me, he goes, no. Oh, mate, I am so scared. And he didn't, honestly, he didn't tell me a single thing of what we were going to do until I got in the ring. Yeah. And I was so scared.
Sucker. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We got to get ready to wrap this thing up here. We're talking about WrestleMania right now. And like I said, we haven't even talked about the main event. It's a couple of things we haven't talked about.
I mean, there's just so much on this show.
We talked about Bobby Lashley and his big victorious win over Omos, the nearly 7-foot giant. And let's talk about that one for a second, man. Let's talk about the trajectory of Bobby Lashley. I said that the company is building Bobby Lashley. I said I had that from a source. Didn't I say that?
You did.
I think I said one of my sources, told me that. And I'm going to tell you right now, I was lying. I ain't got no sources. But I could just see and sense and feel, where we're trying to take Bobby Lashley. And, for Bobby to go out and, get a big win over Omos the way he did, just let me know, man, this guy's, he's on the rise. He's moving up. Bobby's going to be one of those guys that's going to win the world title on a multiple occasion. He's a guy that's can get in there and work with anybody, and you believe that, man, this could actually happen. This could actually go down that way because he's the real deal. To set something up now with Bobby and Roman, oh my God, to have Bobby in the right position with the people to actually be able to make that happen. It's going to be awesome. People wonder about the absence of, MVP. Is there some friction in the camp? So I don't know, man. But I do see Bobby Lashley, like I said a few weeks back, as being one of the guys over this next perhaps 3 to 5 years. And I saw somebody say in the comments when I said that back then, isn't Bobby 40 now? And they're going to bank on a 40-year-old guy for the next 3 to 5 years? Yeah. I think Brock's somewhere near that age too, and they've been banking on him for quite some time. And a lot of the guys, I must say, in this business is their best when they're in their 40s. I look at a guy like Edge right now. You can say what you want, but Edge is doing some of his best work right now. And I remember having a conversation with the Undertaker one time, and we were having, a couple of cocktails and overseas somewhere, and we were talking about the progression of the wrestler. Why does it take us, so long to figure it out? And then we get to that age, and it's almost time for us to retire. You know what I mean? So I say again,
it's life's great trick, isn't it?
yeah, and it's true. It's true. So I can see them banking on a guy like Bobby for the next 3 to 5 years just because of that and that alone.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby's 45, Brock's 44. I mean, they're the same age, essentially, so there's no reason. I mean, Sting. Yeah, someone just said Sting's still fighting. Sting's in his 60s. I mean, come on.
68, right?
63.
No.
We just saw a 76-year-old wrestle, though, over the weekend, right? So, I mean, look, there's no stop. And it wasn't Terry Funk. It was definitely Vince McMahon, right? But Terry wrestled into his 70s.
Bullet Bob wrestled, I think, the day before he died.
I think that's a shoot, right? Like, I think that's a shoot. Real quick, just a couple of just quick things that we have to see. Of course, there was the big main event WrestleMania match that we should talk about to close this show, but Undertaker going in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Big moment, right? Big moment. Yeah. I think you and I talked after the Hall of Fame, and I said when Taker came out with his little
earpiece, Janet Jackson.
His little Janet Jackson. I was like, ooh, brother's about to talk. He's about to talk. And he went 45 minutes. But boy, was it a great Hall of Fame speech. One of the best Hall of Fame speeches ever. Honestly, it's up there for me.
Either was going to be a long Hall of Fame speech, or he was getting ready to sing Control. Get what I want, control. That Janet Jackson, man. I'm serious now, man. But
it was a great speech.
It was a great speech, man. And you could tell he was emotional about it. You could tell. And the thing is, you do not know how you're going to feel until you're in that moment. You really don't. You can prepare for it. You can, rehearse over and over and over, but you do not know exactly what's going to happen until you're in front of that crowd. And just the first 5 minutes, man, you could tell he was trying to gather his thoughts and just get himself together. That was a real moment right there. And it's definitely something that people are going to remember for a long time. Just that. They could put that on YouTube and it'll get, 1 million plus clips in a couple of minutes. You know what I mean? Him saying no words, just standing there and taking it all in. And I remember Taker told me my first WrestleMania, hey, man, just take it all in, bro. All right? Don't rush it. Just take it all in when you get out on the stage. Just take it all in. I was like, all right. Like, why is this guy telling me that? And then I walked out on stage and it was, 78,000 people or something like that. And I just stopped. And I just looked around the crowd. I just looked at everybody. Just remembering what he had just said and it was just stuck in my head. Just take it all in. I was like, wow, this is freaking awesome. Oh my God. That's what I'm thinking on the inside. And then made that walk, man. It was a moment that most people will never, ever understand. Yeah. So I totally understand where Undertaker was being on that stage after being, the dead man for so many years, representing that company for so many years, and finally taking the gloves and the hat off and pretty much leaving in the ring and thanking the fans for this journey, this ride. It had to be, special. And like I said, I'm sure very, very emotional, man. Great night.
Great night. And then it all led to Sunday night, last night, the main event. That was billed as the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Their trilogy of WrestleMania matches is now really 1-1-1. And Roman walks away, though, the new unified WWE Universal Champion, whatever they're going to call it. The two belts are now going to be one, at least for the time being. Did you think, let me ask you this, not so much what did you think of the match, but do you think that Roman continuing his run was the right call?
Yes. In a
Why do you
word.
think
Just because, man, we're trying to create stories here. We're trying to create drama. It's not about ones and losses or anything like that. It's about Roman right now, guys. It's just I look at the history of the business. I look at I wouldn't just say the history of the business, but I look at the history of the WWE.
Right.
You look at it from a perspective to where Andre, Hogan,
Mhm.
Austin,
Mhm.
Rock, Triple H, Cena, now is Roman. Okay. All of these guys were billed as the mega superstar. And I think you got to have that one guy in a company to actually be able to build around and build down and build out from. And Roman right now is that guy. And to really be able to create some drama, you got to put this guy in a position to where the fans look at him a certain way. I can't tell you how many people outside of that arena had their own way of acknowledging Roman Reigns. It was amazing to see it. I was like, wow, this feels like wrestling the way it was back in the day, man. I swear it felt like King Booker and Camelot, somebody wanted to kiss the ring for real, out in the parking lot. It was that kind of stuff because the fans, again, man, they made it special. And Roman right now is that special generational talent. And that's why I feel like they made the right choice. I'm just hoping, there again, I'm wishing that Roman is not hurt because I was looking at some photos online where it looked like I don't know, maybe a bicep, a tricep,
Maybe
something in that area may have rotated or something. I wasn't looking at the rotator. I saw it looked like the bicep or the tricep. Is the photos that I saw, and I don't know if it's I don't know if that was real. I don't know if that was just something somebody was trying to make news with. I haven't heard anything or seen any press clipping saying Roman is going to be, having surgery or anything like that. But I'm just hoping that he's okay and able to continue the rise of the bloodline. Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be incredible to see who's gonna be the guy to take that title off of Roman. I think there's a few options out there. Brock's always an option, but there's Bobby, there's Drew, there's Cody Rhodes. There's gonna be some interesting things to see. Well, I'm just excited. Book, we're like a couple minutes away from the biggest Raw of the year, and I think some of those questions might be answered.
Yeah, man. Let's we got to get ready to check out of here because Cody Rhodes is going to have a hot mic in his hand here. In a few minutes might open the show. We don't know, but we're going to find
Best WrestleMania in 8 years, in my opinion. Like since WrestleMania 30, it's the best one by far.
Hey, man, big ups to everybody who had a part in creating WrestleMania 38 this year. Awesome time. Appreciate you, Bradley, as always. Appreciate all you guys in the chat and. Hey guys, we'll be doing this thing again. You know the time, you know the place. But right now, we out of here. Peace. Can you dig it?